Well, if you're a very proud Cardiff City fan, welcome you in good company, because on this week's episode of Where Bluebirds Walk, we are reviewing that FA Cup game against Villa and just how proud we were of some of the individual performances. We've got Jamie and Tom to run over the game with us. Plus, we're talking about Dylan Lawler. What an impressive showing he had in his debut. Colwill now has to start games. We'll get the panel's view on that, and we're asking you guys for your February Unsung Player of the Month. Who deserves more flowers than they have currently got? And we're choosing predicting the playoff final. Delighted to have Jamie and Tom back with us, fresh back from Villa Park. Jamie, I think we've got a picture of you on the station. There we are. The weekend starts here, and you stayed overnight in Birmingham as well. Good day out, or good evening out, or weekend out?
Yeah, it was, to be fair. I mean, I think a lot of us fans that went up there were probably just doing the usual hope for a good game, competitive. We were expecting a mixed team, which, it kind of proved to be a little bit. Both managers said they'd make changes, albeit that Aston Villa's team was very, very good. But credit to the Cardiff fans. I think there was a brilliant atmosphere when we went 1-0 down, 2-0 down. Kept singing, and, the players had a good occasion. So, yeah, that was a good start to the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we're watching it obviously on the TV, and the Cardiff fans didn't stop singing, even when you went a goal down. I think you just incredible support. Yeah, wonderful. Welcome, Tom. Channel. Asking you honestly, without any blinkered views on, do you think you should have had a penalty before Villa scored?
I think, for me, it was a Stonewall penalty, and I think if it's at the other end, I think it's given 9 times out of 10, if not 10 out of 10. As they said, checking VAR. Maybe they should have checked the club badge first, but yeah, I think it's just one of those things where there's not a lot of contact, but there's enough contact, and at the end of the day, as long as there is contact, then it is a penalty. You can't really get around that. I don't know. I understand how the referees maybe not seen it, but for VAR not to even check it and to go back and have a look is, it's baffling in my opinion. But
Yeah, I will tell you what. I mean, you've had a great FA Cup run, haven't you? You went to Sheffield United. No one expected you to win at Bramall Lane. You did. You went to Stoke. Okay, that was a cracking game, and then you've got something in the coffers from Villa Park as well. And actually, you've come out with a lot of credibility from that game, Jamie. So, where does that leave us now with the league? A great win against Hull, but all to do now.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've heard it quite a few times this year when we've probably lost certain games against good opposition, or the opposition fans saying, "Oh, you're too good to go down." Well, it's the Championship. No one's too good to go down. You have to be consistent over 46 games, don't you? What I would like you say, where you put in the titles there about players like Dylan Lawler, what I think they've done now is they've shown that there are options there should Omariza need them. This is going to be a very, very tough week. There's no mistaking that, with 2, playoff contenders. Now, having that win against Hull has allowed us almost to take a bit of a breather and a bit of pressure off us, albeit for a few days. But yeah, I mean, it's the Championship. Anyone can turn up. And again, I think if we stick to our guns like we did for 70 minutes against Aston Villa, I think we'll cause the bigger sides who like the possession a lot of problems, because I think we'll have a bit more belief about us to get something out of the games.
Yeah. Have you got to that point yet, both of you, where you're looking at others' results, and like Luton were beating Pompey yesterday? Are you urging for a Pompey equaliser yet? Have you got to that point?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
You're watching other results, aren't you? And yeah, you just you don't want to hope for other teams to kind of slip up. You want to do it yourself, but at the end of the day, sometimes that is the nature of the Championship as well. You do need a few favours to get by these things.
Absolutely. All right, let's have a chat then about some players that came out with a lot of flowers showing. We've already mentioned him already, Jamie, but Tom, let's get your view on this. So Dylan Lawler, a first team debut. I mean, there's a couple of tweets here said he was absolutely phenomenal and should be so proud of himself. Well done, Dylan. Says Tim. There's a few more. There's going to be Premier League players that will struggle against that Villa front four. Our defence weren't among them. The boy was outstanding. Well played, Dylan. The future is bright. And we've seen a few youngsters throughout this FA Cup run, haven't we? Shine. And we've mentioned a few previously on this channel. But Tom, Dylan Lawler, discuss.
I think it's fantastic to see kids still coming through as well, because we've had obviously Colwill, obviously Bacon's been there for a few years. You've got Isaac Davis that's gone out on loan, he's come back, and then obviously you've got now Kean Ashford coming through and starting to do stuff. So it's nice to see somebody else as well, but maybe in the defensive area, especially because we've been so poor there all season, and the lack of consistency in terms of actually keeping clean sheets as well. It's nice to hopefully see a young lad. Obviously, we have seen stuff like this before. I remember Ollie Denham. He had a great game in the Cup against Liverpool a few years ago, and then we didn't see much of him. So I hope it's not a flash in the pan, and hopefully he can kind of kick on, really. But that's down to Reza as well, and the management. Fair play, he's done a great job with that, and giving him the confidence to put in a performance like that against Asensio, Rashford, Leon Bailey. Like, these are like top 4 quality strikers that played in the Champions League week in, week out. So it's great to see him kind of tested and handling the pressure, really.
Brilliant. Okay, good answer. Before we move on and talk about Colwill, in the comments, can you now drop who you think should get the February Player of the Month? We're going to get these guys' opinion on it in a second, but who do you think should receive the February Player of the Month award from the club? And there's a few contenders this month, to be fair. Right then, let's talk about your man Jamie. I know how much you love him, but Nick says Colwill has to start every game for us now. Craig says brilliant. Rubin was awesome. Salek is a right handful and will be a force in the Championship. They've done themselves proud. Nothing to fear. If we play that, we'll come on to Salek in a minute, because I know you think you and your daughter met him, didn't you? As the players were coming in. But what about Rubin Colwill?
I think Rubin's one of those ones we know has got a lot of potential, has a lot of upside. When your team aren't necessarily performing well and they're on the end of the table, there are players that probably get every aspect of their game probably looked at. And unfortunately, at the times this season, Rubin's been one of those who's received a bit of criticism, not only from maybe section of fans, but the national team manager has also said about aspects of his defensive work and so on. But I think what Rubin's done, especially the last 3-4 games, he's shown a level of maturity, he's shown a level of quality, and I think he's shown everybody that when games are open, you can't probably stop him. I mean, there was Newcastle fans, there was with the FA Cup, and it's being broadcast around the world, there's fans going, who's this boy? Who's this Rubin Colwill? And in games like this, where it was going to be open, he was going to have chances to go sort of at teams on the counter, you see the real Rubin Colwill. You see the person that can drive at teams. He can hold players up, and that's what we all know he's got. But I think what he has done recently is he's really got stuck in. He's starting to get more physical. He's starting to probably do the dark arts of the game a bit better as well. So again, that comes with development. He's still young, but yeah, he is a talent. We've known that for a while, and hopefully he continues to develop this season and help us out of the position that we're in.
Yeah, I think he bossed that midfield, didn't he? He's certainly incredibly impressive. Let's have a couple more. Yeah, we've done that one. Sorry. Yes, Horvath, who I don't think gets enough credit personally from me. CCFC says great performance from the team. Horvath was great. Tom definitely should have had a penalty. Now this one, I don't get why we kept El Ghazi on though. I thought he was very poor, and I don't get why their fans are so rattled. Couldn't hear them all game. Also, Colwill bossed the midfield. So 2 quick ones on this one, Tom, if you don't mind. Horvath and then El Ghazi. Do you agree?
I think the Horvath situation is interesting because it's funny. At times, he's a great shot stopper. We've seen that before. He's pretty good on the floor, apart from on his left foot. Sometimes does do a few catch iron moments in your mouth. I just think it's more to do with the consistency of Alnwick that's kept him out this season, really. Because Alnwick again is a good shot stopper, but he had a great game. He kept us in the game a few times with some fantastic saves, especially the one I think it was Asensio when he put it down to the right. It was a fantastic save because he didn't push it back into play either. He pushed it away from goal, and it could have easily have gone to another Villa player. But credit to him for making that save as well. Yeah. In terms of El Ghazi, it's a difficult one because he offers so much quality at times, but also as well, I think maybe the game, it wasn't the game for him. We needed a bit more pace. I think Isaac Davis and Kean Ashford should have been introduced maybe a little bit sooner, because we were clearly lacking on that pace. And you could see as the game was opening up, we were getting a few more chances as well. So maybe Reza could have looked at that and brought on those a bit earlier. But I don't think he had a bad game, El Ghazi. I just don't think it was particularly the game for him, really.
Okay. On the back of, like you say about Ethan Horvath there, it's never easy for a goalkeeper, I suppose, to start the season in the manner he did with the error at Burnley, then almost to be, like you say, having to sit on the bench and, sort of bide his time. I think what is telling to see is, like you just mentioned there about with his feet, the ball at his feet. I think having an outlet now where we had Kanga at the start of the season, no disrespect to Kanga, but that proved terrible. But having Salah up front allows us now not to worry about playing the ball out from the back. We can go direct and quite quickly. So he's physical, he can hold the ball up. And I think that helps Horvath, because like the other night, we were passing out because we knew we had to. But if he's able to go long, he'll go long, pardon the American pun there. And he'll go long and he'll hit the target man. So it is helpful. And again, there's a lot of work that's probably going in behind the scenes, and you have to credit him as a person that he didn't throw his toys out the pram, and he's still now, well, it's his job to lose again now, isn't it? Because Jack Annick's out for the season.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, then on the game, Selleck, we've mentioned, he's a nuisance, isn't he? And it's been a while, isn't it, Tom, that Cardiff have had a player of this nature that just, defenders aren't going to like this guy.
No, and he's, as you say, he is a nuisance, and sometimes you need nuisance value in the squad. You need to. I remember the year we went up with Heide Helgeson. He did score a lot of goals as well, but he was a nuisance. He used to get involved with things, and Salak offers that physical side that we haven't had for a while. Obviously, Kiefer Moore offered it, but he's just bringing other players into play. You can see when Rambo's on the ball as well now. He's always looking for him, and he wins those important headers. Like against Hull, if we wouldn't have started Salak, I don't think Robinson scores that goal because nobody flicks that header on and we don't get the knockdown. And it's up to obviously a player like that to win that ball. And it's nice to have someone like that, because in a relegation dogfight, it's exactly what you need in the Championship, is a proper old-fashioned centre forward who bangs into people and creates opportunities for the better players who can actually finish it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, both of you, for that. Then it's Sunderland then up next. That's a bit of a distance to go on a Saturday morning, Jamie. Into what time are you up for that?
I think so. I was going to do the weekend, but we're deciding to go on a coach there and back. So it's going to be one of those long days. I think it's 6:10. I think we leave. Distance, what it'll be. But we've got a fairly decent record, I believe, at the last two seasons. I think we've snatched and grabbed 2-1 wins. So maybe this is me being hopeful, but maybe this game will suit us simply because Sunderland need to keep winning. They need to probably, in their fans, demand fast-flowing football, etc. We are probably quite the opposite, especially away from home. We'll happily sit in, bide our time, and then hopefully, counter-attack as such. But listen, the expectation is going to be on Sunderland, isn't it? The 30-odd thousand fans that will probably be there. We'll be expecting them to win against low in the table Cardiff. So, it'd be a good trip no matter what, I suppose.
Yeah, they're very much a first half team as well. The number of times they've conceded. Plymouth went there 2-2. It was Watford went there 2-2. Coventry came back from 2-0 down. So hang on in there. I think it's with the message. Right, let's get your February Player of the Month then awards if that's okay. We're trying to pick out the players we think aren't going to get the club's one and going to go next down the line, if that's okay. So let us know in the comments. I've already asked you. We'll read some of these out next week. Tom, sorry to throw this onto you because you didn't know this was coming, but if you were to pick someone who isn't going to get the main one but should do, who would it be?
Do you know, I think I'd probably go for Perry Ng. I think he's been kind of left aside for a few months and he wasn't playing exactly that well. And I feel like the last 4 or 5 games he's come back into the side. He's been asked to play centre half again a few times in a few tough games as well, especially against like Plymouth and what we had against Hull as well. And he's just done a great job, to be honest. He looks like the Perry of old. He was fantastic against Villa. He picked the ball up. He got down the line as well. And I think, I would give it to Perry if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite players actually secretly for Cardiff. Jamie?
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant shout. I'm going to go for someone who's recently got a contract. I'm going to go with Dowda. I just think that whenever he plays well, we seem to play well. And he just leaves it all out on the pitch. And he wore the armband, was it against Hull? And it just seemed right. It just seemed right. And he gets the club. The fans love him. And I just think, do you know what? Sometimes you need one of those players that's just going to leave it out on the pitch. And like you said there, Tom, Perry NG, hats off to him. He's playing in a natural position. He's had to buy his time. And you know what? Like you said, we're not in a position for players to be moaning that they're not playing. So for those players, to come in like Perry NG and play in a natural position, testimony to them, I suppose.
Okay. Thank you. There were two good shouts there as well. Brilliant. Right. Last week, then, we asked you who deserves to go down. This week, we're asking you who deserves to go to the playoff final. Which two teams would you like as a Cardiff fan base to stick up there? Now, unfortunately, we were not going to add yourselves into this mix because I think it's pretty much done and dusted that you won't be there. But nearly half the championship will be. The ones at the bottom there, Millwall, have got a squeak of a chance. But looking at the badges there and the fan bases that don't get on your nerves, Jamie, who deserves to be in the playoff final come the 24th of May?
I think you've just got to look at, again, you've got the Burnley Leeds there, haven't you? They've probably been the most consistent this season. I'll probably go with Burnley. I just think Leeds and Sheffield United are going to get the automatics. And if you have a Sunderland, final against Burnley, that'd be one, I suppose, for good viewing. I think Burnley, I'll probably eat my words here, but I don't think they've been lighting games up, if that makes sense. But they've done enough under Scott Parker in games to get over the line with moments of quality, individual quality. So yeah, I think Burnley Sunderland final would be one.
Burnley Sunderland final, Tom?
I think I'd go for Coventry based on kind of current form. I think they've been absolutely fantastic since Lampard's come in, and especially the pressure was on him because of he hasn't done that great a job elsewhere apart from Derby all those years ago. So yeah, I think it'd be nice to see Coventry, and I think they've got a solid squad. I think just kind of their tenure under Mark Robbins just kind of came to end, fizzled out a bit like when we were with Dave Jones, really. A bit too long spent at one club. But yeah, it'd be nice to see Coventry there based on form as well. And I think we've seen it before as well. I think Forest did it a few years ago where they would start off down the bottom around by the relegation zone, and then you go on one of those runs and next thing you know, you're in the playoff final and you could be in the Premier League within a few months' time. So yeah, I think Coventry deserve to be there on the basis of form at the minute.
All right, good shouts. Thank you so much. Let us know what you think in the comments. I'm sure you're going, why are you asking us this? Don't forget, we talked about relegation last week. We talked about promotion the week before. Next week, we're talking about League One. Who would you like to see come back up from League One? I'm going to get your views on Wrexham next week. So join us for that. Thank you very much for watching. Do drop us a like and a subscribe. It's so hard to grow any Cardiff content on there because there's two very good podcasts, but we're the only one that brings fans in and asks them the fans' views. So if you want to come on yourself, drop us a comment in there. We'll have you on next week. You talk to Jamie and to Tom and to our other teams. Thank you very much for watching.